is the 4th generation Maruti Suzuki Swift, which is available in 11 variants, priced between 7.67 to 11.32 lakhs on road Mumbai. Yes, the price has increased quite a lot. So the Swift has become quite a premium model, but the Baleno is available just for rupees 8,000 more with a lot more features. So which car would you buy? Comment right away. But before we start, let me show you this awesome car perfume from Involve Your Senses. This is the Involve One French Wood. It's not your regular car freshener fragrance. In fact, it is a blend of special bodily perfumes which you really love. It's just amazing. And you know what? You can easily regulate it. Like super easy to regulate. It does not leak at all, and you can get yours with a 10% discount using coupon code FASTBEAM. What are you doing? Click on the top right corner of the screen right now. Coming to the Swift. Well, the biggest change is obviously to this, which is the engine. One cylinder has been dropped, power is down by 8 horsepower, torque is down by 1.3 Newton meters. So yes, it's less powerful when compared to before, but it is more efficient. And if you notice, since this is a 3-cylinder engine, there's a bit of vibration here. Yeah, the engine is rocking front and back. But remember one thing, this actually does not translate to vibrations on the inside. So Suzuki has actually done a great job right there. Evolutionary design change. So the bonnet line actually continues all around the car. How do you like the design of the car? Because it's like a love it or hate it. Initially you don't like it, but it definitely grows on you with time. All LED lights! Not really. This is actually halogen LED fog lamps. Piano black finishing on the grille. This car does not get ADAS because globally we had a lot of expectations after seeing the Swift. But for cost reasons, Maruti Suzuki hasn't done much to the car other than the fact giving it a new engine because the platform remains more or less the same. However, in spite of dropping one cylinder, this car is 20 kgs heavier when compared to before. More steel for better safety rating. The wheelbase is the same as before. Length is also the same as before. Tire size is also the same as before. 185/65 15s. Alloy wheel design is slightly different when compared to before. This is the dual tone. Black finishing here. Black finishing on the roof as well. And that is the antenna, obviously. They have actually moved the door handle at the rear from here to here. No longer you get the 3-door treatment. I don't know why they did that, but anyways, they keep going back and forth. No rear discs here. Rear design again, very evolutionary in terms of the design change. But you get 4 parking sensors. Quite a lot of car brands actually giving you 2 at this price point. So good job. Even cars more expensive than this one are giving you 2. So good job Suzuki right there. Says Swift Suzuki. And this is the reverse parking camera. And obviously here you get the exhaust. Right next to it is a fuel tank which is kind of chintu mintu at 37 liters. By the way, it gets a new suspension as well, and trust me, the ride quality is awesome. You get a rear wiper, you get a spray here, but the boot space is more or less the same as before. Loading lip is a bit high. That is the parcel shelf. But spare wheel is chintu mintu because this is actually a 165/80/14 and it's a steel wheel, no alloy here. You get a hook right there and a light. That's about it. Let's shut this right away. And you also get a reflector treatment here. So design changes aren't much, by the way. All LED lights, not really. Reverse light as well as the indicator, actually halogen here. This is where fuel goes in. And at the rear, you will realize that it misses out on a center headrest. Yeah, center passenger does not get a head. No center armrest here either. Isofix child seat mounts, obviously. And there is good amount of legroom, I guess, because this is scooped out. Knee room is good, actually. Under-thigh support is not the best. Space-wise, the Swift is not the best car. But there is good amount of headroom. No height adjustable seat belts. Handle to hold on to. Magazine holder here. Not here, I don't know why. AC vents right there, and I don't know what that is, but you get a USB-A and USB-C charging sockets right here. Now, this is a 60/40 recline, which means that you can carry longer items. But compared to the Baleno, this car doesn't have as much space, but the dashboard is again inspired from the Baleno as well as the Brezza. Yeah, that change has been done. Some design elements here. This is actually small, but you'd put a one bottle. I mean, you can put one bottle here easily. There is no illumination on the power window switches. The same old power window switches when compared to before, but you get a request sensor on this side, which Hyundai does not offer. So good job Suzuki there as well. The wipers seem good enough. Yeah. And how do you like the design of the car? It will definitely grow on you with time, but I expected a bigger design change, but they have not done anything to the wheelbase. They're like, we'll focus on the engine, but I don't understand that. I'll tell you why when we are driving the car. Obviously, seats are the same as before. Fabric seats. Seats are actually nice. They didn't need to be changed, so they're not changed. 6 airbags standard on all the variants now. Door pockets are bigger at the front. Same old switchgear as the 2005 Maruti Swift, the first generation model. Even says Swift right here. Lot of buttons, dummy ones actually. This is for traction control, engine start. This is for stop start system, and this is for the headlight leveler. But it tells you about airbag here and what is the recommended tire pressure. Before I jump inside, let me tell you, there is a proper place to get this awesome car perfume, which is right here, because they are twin cup holders. There's a wireless charging pad where I'm trying to charge your phone, and you get a 12-volt charging socket. You get a USB, which also connects with the car. Remove this. Why is this here? And let me turn off the lights as well. Now it's bright. 9-inch screen. You know what is the issue? The bezels are a bit thick here. I don't know why. You get a lot of information here, not really. Yeah, it's kind of plain and basic, but it gets Suzuki Connect, no auto dimming mirror, and here you get a mirror. Here you not get anything, but it tells you ticket holder. If I put ticket holder somewhere here, does it become a ticket holder? Not really. Anyways, jokes aside, I'm actually in a very good mood because of the performance of this car, which is quite impressive for a 3-cylinder engine. No front center armrest, which is there in the Baleno. No heads-up display, which is there in the Baleno. No auto-dimming mirror, which is there in the Baleno. The Baleno just has more features. It also has a 360-degree parking camera and costs just rupees 8,000 more. So now you decide, Baleno or Swift. Let me know in the comment section below. Buttons here for audio system, buttons here for cruise control, buttons here to pick up or drop a call, and this is height adjustable, but it does not adjust for reach. New cluster, which shows you a lot of information. Most of it is obviously focused around efficiency because Suzuki is now loving efficiency only. Power and torque meters, which is quite cool. If you notice the design of the needles, that's also nice. Acceleration and brake graphics as well. So that's loaded 10.7 kilometers per liter because bro, I am driving the car now, so you will not get 25 kilometers per liter. Let's get into reverse. This is the reverse parking camera. Quality is not that great. It's wide. It gets guidelines. Guidelines are not adaptive. Guidelines don't change the direction. They are very much fixed, which is quite sad. And which actually brings me to the audio test. What am I searching for? Let's listen to some music. Band ho ja, band ho ja. Copyright aa jayega, band ho ja. So basically, this is powered by Alchemy's. Audio quality is actually nice. I really like it. Let's do the wiper test. Yeah, wipers actually work well. Quite a lot of spray right there. And it gets automatic headlights as well. A feature you probably don't need, but you still have it. Piano black finishing, flat bottom steering wheel. So some really impressive features in this car in terms of design and all that. But for the price, I expected more considering the Baleno will eat the Swift in terms of features itself. Thankfully, climate control air conditioning with physical buttons. Air conditioning is an absolute chiller, or Bangalore weather is just amazing with clouds all over the place. They don't have summers, they just have winters all throughout the year. Light here, but there is no light at the rear, which is something weird because they could have given it in the center or at least given us a sunroof instead. That was also expected. People are expecting a lot from Maruti Suzuki, but Maruti is like, you want all those features? We have the Grand Vitara for you. Let's rev it. Ah, there. It shows me exactly which door is open. It even shows me if the hood is open. Let's turn off the car, and there it gives me a summary of my drive right away. By the way, it's also showing me motion front and back. I don't even know what that means, but it's just showing that. The best thing is when you actually turn on the car now, there's this lady who will greet you as well. That's the welcome sound which Suzuki has got. And Suzuki logo comes here. Urja, jaldi urja. Tell me something. Something. Entertain me, bro. What are you doing? So it's a bit slow to respond because Suzuki Connect now. So command goes to Japan, and then you get an approval. Then only the screen will turn on, and it's still loading right now.
Welcome to Epic New Swift.
Oh, welcome to Epic New Swift. I am sure that the same thing can be programmed and you can move stuff around here. You can just move the widgets like that. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, wireless and all that is obviously a good thing. But the most important thing is, how is this Swift to drive? By the way, there's a tweeter right here. Let's start driving right away. Alright, let's start driving by turning off the air conditioning, turning off the stop-start system, turning off the traction control as well. Band ho ja bhai, and shut off. Handbrake down. We turn on the navigation here straight away. There's some weird sound coming from somewhere. Is by any chance Krishna Cottage around? Anyways, into first gear, hazard lights off, driving the motor, revs till 5000 RPM. First gear, 6000 RPM, 45-50 kilometers per hour, and because one cylinder is dropped, a Wagoner is overtaking at the moment because that has 4 cylinders, obviously the 1.2 engine one, the K12 Wagoner that is. But does one cylinder less mean a bad thing? Usually it does, but not if Suzuki is the company we are talking about, because they are the masters of small engines and somehow they made this 3-cylinder engine quite refined. So all those vibrations which were felt in the engine bay can't be felt inside. So I'll just stop here and we're going to launch it once again because this car actually has good low end grunt, and there's another new Swift. There are a dime a dozen because all of us are driving this car. And before you guys say it, it's Maruti lane because all I see is Maruti cars, and there's one more which just passes us right away. Kahan gayi? Gayab kaise hogi? There it is. So many Maruti cars, and this is actually the navigation which is being shown to me at the moment, but I want to get out of it. I can't. I'm stuck. I don't want to see the navigation. No, I can't. So that's a bit of a glitch. Revving the motor, 5000 RPM, hazard lights off. Wheel spin in plenty. Oh my god, lot of wheel spin in installments. 6000 RPM red line, and this manual is a lot of fun to drive because a manual is a manual. Second gear, it does 90 kilometers per hour. So yes, relatively tall gear this car is. And as I pull it past 100 kilometers per hour, the struggle starts. At around 120 kilometers per hour is when the struggle actually starts. But the suspension is beautiful in this car. Amazingly tuned. The ride quality is phenomenal to say the least. But this engine, the Z12E, is a 1.2 liter unit with 3 cylinders, so 1 cylinder less when compared to the K12, and this one has 8 horsepower less and 1 Newton meter drop in power, 1.3 Newton meter drop in power, because this is producing 111.7 Newton meters of torque. The old engine produced 113 Newton meters of torque. Power here is 81.58 PS, that was 90 PS, so more than 8 horsepower less. So I'm just going to downshift into second gear and off we go. Engine is actually refined, but in the higher end of the rev range, it becomes a bit vocal, and it's not very smooth throughout, because at certain parts now you can feel the 3-cylinderness. Some vibrations can be felt at certain speeds, so not very refined throughout. However, fuel efficiencies become phenomenal because of 1 cylinder less. This engine is tuned for fuel efficiency. And I asked Maruti Suzuki that the K12 was so good, why did you drop it? You had no need of bringing in a newer engine for better efficiency. And they're like, we are looking at future emission norms, and that's the reason we wanted to make the car more efficient, because I think it pollutes lesser now, lesser CO2 emissions, more efficient as well, and then better low-end grunt, because low-end performance is good. So low-end torque is amazing in this car. City drivability is excellent. It's only on the highway when you want the quick overtake now, top end really disappoints. So it's no longer having the Japanese feel of just going mad when you just pull it hard like that OG Swift. By the way, the OG Swift was the stiffest thing I've driven in my life in mass market cars, and this is one of the softest, but still the handling is actually quite good. We're going to downshift because it's a joy to use this gearbox. The clutch is also on the lighter side, so some revisions to the clutch I think, and it's a new gearbox obviously because it's a new engine, so the gearbox is also new here, and the steering is the same as before, very similar, you know, kind of lifeless, but it does way up at high speeds. Now I want to make a quick overtake. What do? I plan, and I keep planning only because that car might be having quite a lot more grunt, but eventually Maruti is going to put this particular engine in almost all its cars for better efficiency. So the Baleno is going to get it, the Wagon is going to get it, the Alto will get it, not really. Okay, I want to make a quick overtake, and yeah, I have to plan, and then I decide, okay, enough of it, let's go. It's not the sportiest sounding in the higher end of the rev range, and it doesn't feel bouncy, it feels glued to the road somehow. So amazing suspension. I don't know how they manage the suspension, but the suspension just feels amazing here. It's so smooth, it's so refined, it's just like a wow. Yeah, the suspension is very impressive. It's a new suspension obviously. By the way, the Wagon might have more cylinders, but the Swift has the sporty performance. The glove box is not that big and doesn't get the cooling function either. Not that you really care about it, but it is what it is. In terms of performance, yes, on paper it's a downgrade, but in the real world it's neither an upgrade nor a downgrade. It's very similar. And what wheels is this Brio running on? Oh my goodness, that's absolutely crazy. That Brio has a huge exhaust as well, which reminds me that Honda is still continuing with 4-cylinder 1.2 liter petrol engines, which is a good thing. So respect to you, Honda. Although the Honda engine isn't as good as the Suzuki engine, and Hyundai still offers 4-cylinder engines, which is a good thing. Ground clearance is decent, no problem on that front. You can actually pick it up in higher gear. Below 2000 RPM, it's not very responsive. Around 2000 RPM, it responds very nicely. This car feels better when you short shift and drive it. It's not meant to be taken to the red line because the red line comes in at 6000 RPM. It should go to 7000 RPM or at least 6500 RPM, which is usually the norm with Suzuki engines. But no, the red line has been reduced as well. So a lot of reduction in this car for better efficiency. And in the real world now, this car will This car will easily return you around 15 to 18 kilometers per liter, which is fantastic fuel efficiency. Omni Drag Racing Hyundai Accent, which has a Ferrari logo on it, and manages to overtake it after a lot of time. But anyways, I will give you some good news. The Swift is still quite swift and still very much fun to drive. Now we can't compare it with the older generation of the Swift, especially the first and second generation models. The first generation model was super duper stiff. It was so stiff now the things inside used to rattle. This one has now become very smooth. With every passing generation of any car now, they aim for smoothness, comfort and luxury apparently, and that actually ruins the driving fun, because this car now is something for everyone out there. The earlier Swifts were only for the enthusiasts. Now anyone can drive this car because it's become so smooth. It's a better rounded package. I just hope they make an extreme version of the Swift, like you can call it Swift Sport. You can put a booster jet engine in it.
ये तो लेटेस्ट न्यूज़ है.
Pull is absolutely phenomenal. Wow, what an idea, yaar. Yeah, but Maruti is not planning to launch the booster jet because they're like, the market is very small for it. But when Hyundai can do it with the M-Line, what is stopping Maruti Suzuki? Yeah, come on, Maruti Suzuki, give us the booster jet. Yeah, you can just plonk in the turbo engine from the Fronx into the Swift and call it a Swift Sport. Stiffen it up a bit because this car is on the softer side, and it is actually good fun to drive. It's light, it's agile, and even though weight has increased, it doesn't feel heavy at all. So that's a good thing. Brakes are also nice. Everything feels quite good and doesn't seem like a downgrade at all. Obviously, I know that they have definitely, and not just me, everyone knows that they have definitely reduced a lot of stuff on paper. But on the road, it feels very similar in terms of performance numbers. I think Maruti claims it's become faster, but I think it feels more or less the same as before only. Goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds, which is okay for a hatchback. And there is the Baleno, which used to come with an RS version. The Swift should have got the RS version with the booster jet engine. It's quite confused in terms of the positioning of their car. Sometimes the Baleno is made to look sportier. OG Swift, I love you, yeah, what a car. And by the way, I had the OG Swift, the first generation model. That was the diesel. 2007 is when I bought it, and I actually had to wait for 3 months for ABS because that time the diesel used to not come in Z trim. It only used to come in LDI and VDI option, which had the ABS. And what is that car? When will that Toyota logo come on the Swift? Hopefully never. Like I was telling you about the Swift which I bought, the dealer told me, you know what, you have to wait for 3-4 months to get the ABS version. Just get the regular version. Anyways, you drive in the city. In the city, ABS is useless. Why do you want to get ABS? I waited. I got it straight away from the dealership. I went to the tire shop, threw all those tires, 165, 80, 14s, horrendous tires. Oh my God, I-20. So I changed those tires immediately and opted for bigger 195, 60, 15s, very wide alloys, Lenso alloys, 9J rims. Oh my God, what handling. I even put a cold air intake. I put a tuning box, exhaust, everything I changed in that car and made it like real fun to drive, and it was absolutely bonkers. In fact, that rush I used to get with the diesel Swift in the mid-range, I still don't get it even with performance and supercars, because there was so much turbo lag. That was the silence before the storm, and then all of a sudden push back into the seat. I love that car. As I always say, a diesel is a diesel is a diesel. A diesel is absolutely irreplaceable. Now the thing is, will the Baleno cannibalize this car? I certainly feel so, but I have reached this particular section to go through some corners because the Swift is all about handling, and the handling is just very nice here. It feels eager around the corners. It feels super duper amazing. You can push it hard. It doesn't disappoint at all, and the tires also have decent grip. Not a lot of grip, but decent enough grip. In fact, since there's a Verna right in front of us, I think it's time I jump into the automatic, because a lot of you are looking for the automatic for the convenience. Okay, it's time to have a go in the automatic, which means first things first, air conditioning off, and I'm going to turn off traction control as well, because we are going to be testing the top speed of the automatic, and I'm going to reset this also so we come to know what is the fuel efficiency of this car. Straight away, handbrake down into drive mode, into manual, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, rest till 1500 RPM, and off we go. Okay, it will not make a shift unless and until I decide to do so. Redlining at 6000 RPM, which is the same as the manual. However, when you're in auto mode, it upshifts at around 5500 RPM. So yeah, it's premature shifting right there, not going all the way. But then since this car doesn't have a top end like the earlier Swift, it's fine even if it shifts earlier. Claim fuel efficiency number is bonkers now, because this car returns a fuel efficiency of 25.75 kilometers per liter. Claimed obviously, which you can't get in the real world, but still it is 3 kilometers per liter more efficient when compared to before, or 14% more efficient, which is a lot. Yeah, 14% more efficient this car. The automatic is the more efficient one, but not this one, because this is actually the higher trim, which obviously has wider tires. So if you want better efficiency, you have to opt for the car with smaller, slimmer tires, because that's when you can get better efficiency. And I believe it is for the L variants where the efficiency is definitely better because of the narrower tires, obviously. Now it actually goes out of breath past 130 kilometers per hour, and the top speed is 160 kilometers per hour. We are doing 160 kilometers per hour. It does not go any further than that. Now don't worry, I'm on an open private stretch of road wherein I can obviously max out the car, which I'm doing right now. The top speed and all is very similar here. Okay, we are going to apply hard brakes. Over sensitive ABS here. Oh my god, yeah, ABS is super. Okay, idling, stop, start, unavailable, but ABS is super sensitive. Obviously, tires make some sound as well, but the automatic isn't as good as the manual. Yeah, it's not as fun, unfortunately. But then it offers you the convenience, and then there's obviously the head nod. Yeah, there is the gap between shifts, which is a bit bothersome. Come on. Yeah, the engine doesn't feel as exciting in this car, purely because the shifts are very slow, because this is an AMT, and AMT gearboxes are just not good enough. No matter how much they try to improve it, they're not as good as a regular torque converter automatic gearbox. Globally though, I think they offer a CVT instead. In India, obviously for cost effective reasons, they offer us the AMT, which is 57,000 more expensive. So yeah, it is quite cost effective, it's efficient as well, and that's the reason why AMTs are becoming popular. But Maruti does better AMTs when compared to other people, for sure. There is no denying that fact. So we are at around, okay, I'm going to come into the middle lane. We are at around 140 kilometers per hour. Emergency braking, full brakes, full brakes. A lot of judder somehow. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and off we go. What I'm noticing is that it's showing 8.5 kilometers per liter. Okay, you can feel the gap and the delay between shifts, so it's a little lethargic in terms of shifts. It's not very fast. So that's the major reason why I would just prefer to drive the manual, and the manual is just better. But for the convenience, this automatic actually is good for people who don't want to go swifting as such. And look at the car's engine, just shifted 5,500 RPM. Yeah, shifts happen much earlier. 8 kilometers per liter when you drive it like a lunatic, like how I'm doing right now. Now obviously you can't do it in the real world because you're not going to get a private test track like I have right now. But let's do one thing. Let's actually get back to the manual, because a manual is a freaking manual. Alright, back to the manual and off we go. Come on. Yeah, it does wheel spin quite a lot, and there's this judder as well, but does not wheel spin on upshift because it doesn't have that grunt in the top end of the rev range. So second gear is one of the best gears to drive this car because tractability is very good, and then third is super tall as well. And around the corners, it's such a joy to use. Now this car, the manual, the top end is actually priced at 10.75 lakh rupees. Like I told you earlier, the Baleno is 8,000 rupees more expensive, but I feel Maruti is going to increase the prices of the Baleno so that they do not cannibalize the Swift and Baleno. But how does it matter? They are selling the cars any which ways. The Baleno comes from the more premium Nexa channel as well. So a lot of advantages for the Baleno, but the Swift is more desirable and the Swift is more fun to drive as well. And that's one of the reasons why you would want to get the Swift instead. The other rival is obviously the Hyundai Grand i10 Neos. I know, long name, but that car is priced between 7 to 10 lakh rupees. So obviously it's cheaper, more attractively priced, and gets a 4-cylinder engine. By the way, CNG is also available in the Grand i10 as well as the Baleno. This car will also get a CNG, but it will take time obviously because it's a new engine now. So to get that compatibility, it will take them some amount of time at least. And as I see it, if you want a fun to drive car, well, the Swift is still hard to beat because the handling is still there, performance is still good enough, and obviously I miss the diesel, which actually reminds me of the story which I was telling you now, because that was the first generation Swift. It had a lot of issues in terms of the gearbox. So every time one gear used to blow up, which meant that I had to get the gear replaced under warranty. And every time the warranty replacement used to happen now, they used to give me a donor car which was badly beaten up, an orange color Swift, the first generation, with a lot of rattles. I had to actually damp my Swift also because a lot of rattling issue in the first generation car. The OG had a lot of rattling issues. So what happened was that every time they used to give me the Swift replacement, a donor car, temporary, when the gearbox used to change, it used to take a lot of time because in the first generation model, the gearbox was inside the engine only. So they had to remove the engine, put it on a jack, remove the whole engine, and then replace the gearbox. They were able to do it very nicely. So yeah, service is another USP of the Swift. But then I got tired of replacing gears one by one, and I decided to sell the Swift off after driving it for 110,000 kilometers. I put that ad online, and within 12 hours, someone came and took it at the price I had quoted. Nobody bargained. I was shocked, and I asked him, "What is this, dude? Why are you buying the car like this?" He's like, "I'm going to roll back the kilometers to 30,000 kilometers, and I'm going to sell it off further ahead." He was a dealer. Oh my god, what scam in used car market. But anyways, then I had decided to get a Fiat Ground Punto because of the handling and features and everything. You know what I bought? I bought another Swift instead because of the resale, and that Swift is something I still have. 2011. Now I think it's what, 13 years old. Driving like a charm. DDIS, ZDI, amazing car. A Swift is a Swift in terms of performance and appeal, but with every passing generation, they've just softened it up too much. It's good in terms of ride and comfort, but yes, I miss the OG Swift. Nothing like the original. And off we go. Somehow it reached 6000 RPM, otherwise soft limiter is at 5000 RPM. It's a joy to drive this car. It is so much fun, and if you modified the Swift well, you can enjoy it even more. If you like this vlog, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. This also does a top speed of 160 kilometers per hour. It does not really go past 150 easily unless and until you have an absolutely an absolute down slope and a big area to go faster still. It simply would not just go, and there's a recording happening here, so I should not be intervening there. So like I was telling you, you really feel that the car is not meant for high speeds. This has become more of a city car because of great city performance, but not so great out on the highway. I enjoy driving this car a lot. So flickable, it's so nice. It just deserves more power, a sportier version, stiffer suspension, and obviously bigger wheels as well. But I'm sure people are going to modify it because Suzuki won't do it for us. Bye bye. Oh, there's a nice S curve right ahead. Can you hear the engine? The way it goes now, I just wish the steering was a bit more communicative. And then I keep asking for a lot more, and then I realized the price of this car, well, for the price, the Swift is one of the most appealing hatchbacks out there. By the way, one important detail I forgot to tell you, it's written 10.6 kilometers per liter with my hard driving. Claimed mileage is 24.8 kilometers per liter. Fuel tank size is small at 37 liters. And that's about it. If you like this, okay, whatever. And don't forget to check out this awesome car perfume from Involve Your Senses. This is the Involve One French Wood. Click on the top right corner of the screen right away to get yours with a 10% discount. And don't forget to use coupon code FASTBEAM. Bye-bye. It's raining right now.